Have you ever noticed how, as human beings, we often get trapped in the cycle of being too nice? We want to please everyone, we want to be liked by everyone, and we often go out of our way to avoid conflict at all costs. And while being kind and compassionate is beautiful, there is a subtle danger in being too nice. Because when you are constantly trying to please others, when you are constantly bending over backward for everyone else, what happens to you? Who do you become at the center of it all? This is the question I want to ask you today. Are you living your life on your terms, or are you living your life to satisfy the expectations of everyone around you? Being too nice is often mistaken for being good. People say, "Oh, she's so sweet. He's so kind." But let me tell you a secret, being nice does not always mean being good. Sometimes, being too nice is a form of self-neglect. It is when we put our own needs, our own dreams, our own energy aside for the sake of others, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, we lose our own center. Think about it. How many times have you said yes to something you didn't want to do, simply because you didn't want to disappoint someone? How many times have you swallowed your own feelings, your own opinions, just to maintain peace, just to keep others happy? And in doing so, did you ever stop to ask yourself, am I really okay with this? The truth is, life is not a rehearsal. You only get one chance to live it, and it's meant to be lived authentically, fully, and courageously. And here is where the problem of being too nice becomes apparent. When you are overly concerned with pleasing others, you begin to live life in the shadows of someone else's expectations. You might be kind, but you are also invisible in your own story. You might be loved by everyone superficially, but are you truly respected? Because kindness without boundaries can quickly turn into weakness. And the world, my friends, does not always respect weakness. It sometimes takes advantage of it. Now, I know what you are thinking, but I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I want to be a good person. I want to be loved. And I understand that. There is nothing wrong with wanting to be loved or with wanting to be kind. But let me tell you something. Being good does not mean being a doormat. Being kind does not mean losing your voice. There is a profound difference between generosity of heart and surrendering your power. Generosity of heart means you help because you want to help. Surrendering your power means you help because you are afraid of saying no. One comes from love, the other comes from fear. One uplifts you, the other diminishes you. So how do we find that balance? How do we stop being too nice without becoming cold or selfish? The answer lies in clarity and courage. Clarity about what you truly want, clarity about your values, clarity about your boundaries, and courage to uphold those boundaries even when it feels uncomfortable. Imagine your life as a beautiful garden. If you let everyone trample over it, if you let everyone pluck the flowers they like, soon there will be nothing left for you to enjoy. But if you protect it, if you nurture it, then not only does your garden flourish, but it becomes a place where others can come and experience its beauty without destroying it. That is the essence of living a life that is both kind and strong. And let's not forget this. Being too nice can also stunt your personal growth. When you avoid conflict, when you avoid asserting yourself, you miss out on opportunities to learn, to grow, to challenge yourself. Life does not reward people who are endlessly accommodating. Life rewards people who are brave enough to stand up for themselves, brave enough to express their truth, brave enough to act with integrity. And here is the beautiful irony. When you stop being too nice, when you start respecting your own needs, when you start honoring your own boundaries, you actually become more respected, more admired, and yes, more genuinely loved. People are drawn to those who have strength, not those who have weakness disguised as niceness. So today, I want to ask each of you to reflect. Are you living as your true self, or are you living as the nice person everyone expects you to be? Because here is the ultimate truth: kindness without courage is meaningless. Compassion without boundaries is dangerous. And niceness without authenticity is hollow. The journey of life is not about pleasing everyone. It is about becoming the person you were meant to be. And that person, your true self, is far more magnetic, far more powerful, far more inspiring than any version of you that exists just to please others. Remember, it is not unkind to say no. It is not selfish to prioritize your dreams. It is not wrong to walk your own path. In fact, that is how you can truly serve others, not by losing yourself, but by showing up as your full, authentic, vibrant self. Because the world does not need more people who are too nice. It needs more people who are authentically good, courageously kind, and unapologetically themselves. So start today. Stop trying to please everyone. Start listening to your own heart. Set your boundaries. Speak your truth. Stand firm in your values. Be kind, yes, but be kind without losing yourself. Be generous, yes, but be generous without sacrificing your soul. And in doing so, you will discover a life that is not only happier and healthier for you, but far more inspiring for everyone around you. Because, my friends, being too nice is not virtue, it is a trap. And the greatest gift you can give the world is not endless accommodation. It is the gift of your authentic, courageous, and fully alive self. Have you ever stopped to think about the cost of always saying yes? How many times in your life have you agreed to something even though your heart was screaming, "Now"? How many times have you sacrificed your own peace, your own time, your own energy, simply because you felt obligated to make others happy? This, my friends, is the subtle trap of being a people pleaser, and it can quietly erode the quality of your life if left unchecked. The second truth I want to share with you is this: when you try to please everyone, you often please no one, not even yourself. Think about it. When you are constantly adjusting your life, your thoughts, your actions, just to make others comfortable, what happens to your authenticity, your voice, your dreams? You start living life in fragments. A little piece for one person, a little piece for another, until there's almost nothing left that is truly yours. And over time, this endless giving without self-respect creates resentment, exhaustion, and even a quiet sadness that you may not even recognize at first. Being a people pleaser comes from a place of fear, fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of being disliked. And while fear is a natural human emotion, living under its constant influence is exhausting. You see, fear-driven kindness is not freedom, it is bondage. You are living in someone else's narrative, not your own. You become a spectator in your own life, cheering for everyone else, while your own dreams are left on the sidelines. And that is the tragedy of being too nice. Because when you suppress your own voice, your own needs, your own ambitions, you are essentially telling yourself, I am less important than others. And slowly, day by day, that belief seeps into your soul, dimming your energy and your spark. Now, let me be clear, there is nothing wrong with being considerate, thoughtful, or empathetic. These are beautiful qualities. But the moment kindness becomes a strategy to avoid discomfort or gain approval, it stops being a virtue and becomes a burden. Imagine a river that constantly tries to flow around every rock, every obstacle, never standing firm in its course. Eventually, it loses its power, its direction, its purpose. That is exactly what happens when you are always bending yourself to fit the expectations of others. Your life starts to feel like a river without a destination, a stream that is shallow, lacking depth, lacking strength. What's worse, people rarely see or appreciate the sacrifice you make by constantly pleasing them. In fact, some may even take it for granted. The irony is that the more you try to please, the less people actually value you. Why? Because respect is earned through authenticity, courage, and integrity, not through endless compliance. When you always say yes to others while ignoring your own voice, you send a message to the world: my needs don't matter, my boundaries don't matter, I am just here for you. And while this may seem selfless on the surface, deep down it is unsustainable. Your energy depletes, your confidence erodes, and over time, you start questioning your own worth. So how do you break free from this cycle? How do you stop being a people pleaser and start living your life authentically? It starts with self-awareness. You must become conscious of when you are saying yes out of fear rather than choice. You must pause and ask yourself, am I agreeing to this because I want to, or because I feel I have no other option? That simple question can shift your entire perspective. It allows you to reclaim your power, your voice, your life. Next comes the courage to say no and yes. I know that for some of you, that word feels almost like a sin. You worry that saying no will make others angry, disappointed, or upset. But here's the truth: setting boundaries is not unkind. Saying no when necessary is not selfish. In fact, it is one of the most loving things you can do for yourself and for others. When you protect your energy, when you honor your needs, you show the world and yourself that your life has value. You demonstrate that kindness does not require self-sacrifice. You prove that respect for yourself is the foundation for respect from others. Another essential aspect of breaking free from people pleasing is understanding that your approval is not required for everyone to like you. You do not need to win everyone's affection, validation, or admiration. Life is not a popularity contest. It is a journey of authenticity. And the sooner you internalize that, the sooner you free yourself from the invisible chains of I must make everyone happy. Here's the most beautiful paradox. The moment you stop trying to please everyone, the moment you start living for yourself, you actually become more attractive, more magnetic, more respected. People naturally gravitate toward those who are confident in their boundaries, who speak their truth, who live their life with purpose. Your strength does not push people away. It inspires them. And your authenticity does not create conflict. It clears the way for genuine, meaningful relationships. So today, I urge you to reflect. Are you living your life to satisfy others? Or are you living it to honor your own soul? Are you bending and breaking yourself to fit into the expectations of others? Or are you standing tall, proud, and unapologetic in your own truth? Because the moment you choose yourself, the moment you honor your own needs, you unleash a power that no one can take away. A power that comes from living authentically, courageously, and fully. Remember, my friends, life is too short to be trapped in the cycle of pleasing everyone. True kindness, true compassion, true goodness does not require self-neglect. It requires courage, clarity, and the wisdom to know when to say yes and when to say no. By breaking free from the people-pleasing trap, you reclaim your energy, your voice, and your life. And in doing so, you not only elevate yourself, but also inspire others to live with authenticity, courage, and integrity. The world does not need more people who are constantly trying to be liked. It needs more people who are strong enough to stand for themselves, brave enough to honor their boundaries, and wise enough to live authentically. The third truth I want to share with you is deceptively simple, yet profoundly powerful. When you are too nice, you often fail to set clear boundaries, and without boundaries, life becomes chaotic. Imagine for a moment a house without walls. There are no doors, no rooms, no separations. Everyone can come and go as they please. There's no privacy, no order, no sense of structure. At first, it might seem welcoming, even open. But very quickly, it becomes overwhelming, exhausting, and ultimately unsustainable. This is exactly what happens when you are a person who is too nice. Being nice is beautiful. It creates harmony, it builds relationships, it makes people feel cared for. But without boundaries, that niceness transforms into a magnet for stress, disappointment, and misuse. People begin to take advantage of your generosity, not because they are bad, but because you have shown them that they can. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, you start losing yourself in the process. Your time becomes fragmented. Your energy is drained. Your priorities take a back seat to everyone else's demands. And before you know it, you are living a life dictated not by your choices, but by the expectations, requests, and pressures of others. Boundaries, my friends, are not walls to keep people out. They are guidelines to protect your energy, your values, and your purpose. They are the invisible fences that allow you to love and give without losing yourself. And here's the key. Setting boundaries is not unkind. It is not selfish. It is not a betrayal of your nature. In fact, it is the foundation of true kindness. Why? Because when you know your limits, when you respect your own space, your generosity becomes genuine, sustainable, and powerful. Without boundaries, every act of kindness becomes a compromise, and every sacrifice chips away at your inner peace. Think about it in practical terms. How often have you found yourself saying yes to things you didn't have time for, agreeing to commitments that drained your energy, or giving advice and help when you were already overwhelmed? And then, after all that, did you feel resentful or exhausted? That feeling is your soul telling you, I need boundaries. It's not a punishment, it's a signal that without limits, even the purest intentions can lead to frustration and unhappiness. Boundaries also teach others how to treat you. You see, people are incredibly perceptive. They can sense when you have limits, when you value your own time, when you honor your own energy. And the beautiful paradox is this: the moment you begin to set boundaries, you are not pushing people away, you are actually teaching them respect. You are showing them that your kindness is not weakness, and your generosity is not limitless. You are showing that your heart is full, and therefore your giving is authentic. People naturally gravitate toward authenticity, and nothing is more magnetic than a person who knows their worth and protects it. But here's the challenge: setting boundaries is uncomfortable. It requires courage, patience, and sometimes even the willingness to disappoint others. And yes, you might feel guilty at first. You might think, am I being selfish? Am I being unkind? And here is the truth. The guilt is not a sign of wrongdoing. It is a sign that you are stepping into uncharted territory. You are breaking free from patterns that have kept you trapped in the endless cycle of pleasing, accommodating, and sacrificing. And with each boundary you set, you are reclaiming a little piece of yourself. Boundaries are also essential for your mental, emotional, and even physical health. When you are constantly overextending, constantly saying yes, your mind becomes cluttered, your emotions become fragile, and your body starts to signal its fatigue. Stress, anxiety, and burnout are the natural consequences of a life without boundaries. On the other hand, when you honor your limits, when you carve out time for rest, reflection, and self-care, you create a life that is balanced, joyful, and sustainable. You create space not just for yourself, but also for others to truly connect with you, not out of obligation, but out of genuine love and respect. Let me give you an example. Consider a friend who always wants to hang out, call, or ask for favors. If you never say no, eventually you will feel drained, frustrated, and resentful, even if you love this person dearly. But if you set a clear boundary, perhaps by saying, I need some time to recharge, can we meet tomorrow instead? You are not rejecting them. You are being honest, and you are protecting the relationship from long-term strain. Boundaries are the scaffolding that keeps relationships strong. Without them, even the deepest bonds can crumble under pressure. So today, I want to challenge you to reflect. Where in your life are you too accommodating? Where have you allowed your niceness to override your own needs, priorities, or well-being? And more importantly, what boundaries can you set, gently, firmly, lovingly, to reclaim your energy, your voice, and your life? Because life without boundaries is not kindness, it is chaos. And a life with boundaries is not selfish, it is freedom, clarity, and true generosity. Remember, my friends, boundaries are not walls, they are bridges. They allow you to connect deeply with others while staying true to yourself. They allow you to give without losing. They allow you to be kind without being depleted. They allow you to live a life that is not dictated by everyone else, but guided by your values, your purpose, and your heart. The world does not need more people who are too nice to themselves. It needs people who are strong enough to set boundaries, wise enough to protect their energy, and courageous enough to live life on their own terms. Because the moment you set those boundaries, the moment you honor yourself, you unlock a power, a peace, and a joy that no amount of pleasing others could ever give you. The fourth truth I want to share with you is this: being too nice often leads to indecision. Because you are constantly torn between pleasing others and following your own path, Have you ever noticed how, when someone is too nice, making even simple decisions can become complicated? You hesitate, you overthink, you worry about what others will think, what others will feel, and how others will react. And so, instead of moving forward with confidence, you freeze, stuck in a limbo where no choice feels safe. This hesitation is not weakness, it is a natural consequence of constantly prioritizing others over yourself. Think about it for a moment. Every decision in life, no matter how small, carries weight. Choosing a career, deciding who to spend time with, setting priorities, even simple things like what to say or how to respond. Every choice requires clarity and conviction. But when your mind is always divided between what you want and what others want, decision making becomes exhausting. You may find yourself constantly asking, will they approve? Will they be upset? Will this ruin my relationship? And in the process, your own desires, your own intuition, your own voice quietly fade into the background. Being indecisive has hidden costs. It steals your energy, your confidence, and your momentum. Every moment you delay, every choice you avoid, is a moment of your life slipping away. And the irony is that in trying to avoid disappointing others, you may end up disappointing yourself. You may end up living a life that is safe, comfortable, and predictable, but not fulfilling. You may achieve what society considers success, yet feel empty inside because your life was not guided by your own choices, but by the expectations, judgments, and desires of others. Indecision also breeds self-doubt. When you are constantly trying to anticipate how others will react, you begin to mistrust your own instincts. You start thinking, maybe I am not capable, maybe my choice is wrong, maybe I should just do what others want. And slowly, over time, this doubt becomes a habit, eroding your confidence and your ability to act decisively. You become a person who waits for permission instead of taking initiative. You become a person who allows life to happen to them, rather than living intentionally and courageously. Now, let me be clear, being thoughtful, considerate, and empathetic is not a bad thing. In fact, these are qualities that make you a good human being. But there is a profound difference between consideration and paralysis. Consideration is about weighing perspectives and making informed choices. Paralysis is about being trapped by the fear of displeasing others. One empowers you, the other diminishes you. And here is the danger: the more you practice indecision to avoid conflict, the more you train yourself to live passively, as if your life belongs to someone else. So, how do you break free from this cycle of indecision? The first step is to reconnect with your own values, desires, and intuition. When you know clearly what you want, when you understand what is non-negotiable for you, the opinions of others no longer carry the same weight. Your decisions become anchored in authenticity rather than appeasement. You begin to recognize that it is not your responsibility to make everyone happy. Your responsibility is to live your life with integrity, courage, and purpose. The second step is learning the art of decisive kindness. You can still be compassionate, empathetic, and considerate, but you can make decisions firmly and confidently. You can say, I understand your perspective, but this is the choice I need to make, without guilt, without fear, and without resentment. This is not arrogance, this is clarity, this is self-respect. And the beautiful truth is that when you make decisions from a place of authenticity, people respect you more, not less. They may not always agree, but they will admire your courage and your consistency. Indecision also teaches us an important lesson about boundaries. When you are constantly bending to others' wishes, you are essentially saying that your needs and your opinions are negotiable. And when everything is negotiable, nothing is certain. Your life becomes a series of compromises, small and large, that eventually erode your sense of self. But when you establish boundaries, clear, firm, compassionate boundaries, decisions become easier. You know what is acceptable, what aligns with your values, and what supports your well-being. Boundaries act as a compass, guiding you toward choices that are both responsible and aligned with your true self. Another important aspect of overcoming indecision is embracing imperfection. Many people hesitate because they are afraid of making the wrong choice. But here is a truth that is often forgotten. There is no perfect choice in life. Every decision carries risk, uncertainty, and potential disappointment. What matters is not perfection, but courage, the courage to choose, to act, and to accept the consequences with grace. When you embrace imperfection, indecision loses its power. You learn that mistakes are not failures. They are opportunities to grow, to learn, and to refine your path. Finally, consider this: indecision is a gift wasted when it prevents action. Your ability to pause and reflect is valuable, but only if it leads to clarity and choice. Otherwise, it becomes a cage, trapping you in fear, doubt, and endless hesitation. Life is not meant to be lived in waiting. Life is meant to be experienced actively, courageously, and authentically. And the moment you choose decisiveness over endless niceness, you reclaim the power to shape your life rather than letting life shape you. So today, I challenge you: where in your life are you indecisive out of fear of displeasing others? Where are you giving away your power by overthinking what others will think? And most importantly, how can you start making decisions rooted in your own truth, your own values, and your own courage? Because decisiveness is not about ignoring others, it is about honoring yourself. It is about living a life that is authentic, empowered, and fully alive. Remember, my friends, the world does not need more people who are indecisive because they are too nice. It needs more people who are thoughtful but courageous, compassionate but decisive, kind but unafraid to choose their own path. The moment you embrace this truth, you unlock a life of clarity, purpose, and freedom, a life where your choices reflect your values, your dreams, and your authentic self. The fifth truth I want to share is simple, yet it carries immense power. Being too nice often prevents you from speaking your truth. And when you do not speak your truth, you live a life of quiet compromise. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you disagreed with something, yet you stayed silent because you didn't want to offend someone? Or maybe you wanted to express how you felt, but the fear of confrontation or judgment held you back. If you have, you are not alone. Many of us have been trapped in this pattern, believing that silence is the same as peace, that avoiding discomfort is the same as kindness. But let me tell you, this silence in the face of your truth is not kindness. It is a form of self-betrayal. Every time you choose to suppress your thoughts, your feelings, or your opinions to keep others comfortable, you are slowly shrinking your own presence in the world. You are dimming the light that is uniquely yours. And over time, the accumulation of these small silences turns into a quiet despair, a feeling that life is being lived for others and not by you. Being too nice often comes from a fear of rejection or conflict. You worry that if you express your true thoughts, someone will be upset, someone will be disappointed, someone will stop liking you. And so, in a desperate attempt to be liked, to be accepted, to avoid discomfort, you hide your voice. But here is the irony: people rarely respect a voice that is never heard. They may appreciate the surface level niceness, the agreeable behavior, but they do not feel your presence in its fullness. Respect, connection, and trust are built not on silence, but on authenticity. When you speak your truth with love and clarity, people feel it. They may not always agree, but they will respect your courage. Think about it: relationships, both personal and professional, thrive on honesty. A friendship where no one ever says what they really feel is shallow. A team where everyone agrees to everything is stagnant. And a life where you never speak your truth is unfulfilled. By suppressing your voice, you are depriving the world of your unique perspective, your insights, and your energy. You are teaching others that your thoughts and feelings are negotiable, and in that you diminish not just your presence, but the quality of your interactions. Speaking your truth does not mean being harsh or aggressive. In fact, the most powerful truth is expressed with kindness, respect, and clarity. It is not about winning an argument or proving someone wrong. It is about honoring yourself and the reality of the situation. It is about creating space for genuine understanding, not conflict. And here is the beautiful paradox: the more you speak your truth with love, the stronger your relationships become. People are drawn to authenticity. They are inspired by courage. And they respect those who have the integrity to express themselves honestly, even when it is difficult. Being too nice also leads to compromise in ways that silently undermine your growth. When you refuse to speak your truth, you start making choices that are easier, safer, or more convenient for others, rather than choices that align with your purpose. You may agree to plans that do not excite you, accept roles that do not challenge you, or remain in situations that do not honor your values. And while these compromises may feel like kindness in the short term, they accumulate over time, creating a life that feels muted, fragmented, and unfulfilled. Here's the lesson: every time you withhold your voice, you are giving up a piece of your power. And the world loses out as well, not because the world is unkind, but because your unique contribution, your perspective, and your courage remain unexpressed. When you speak your truth, you inspire others to do the same. You create a ripple effect of honesty, courage, and integrity that extends far beyond your immediate circle. Your voice has power, but only if it is used. So how do you begin to break free from the habit of silence? First, start small. Practice expressing your opinion in situations where the stakes are low. Say what you feel about a movie, a book, or a simple plan. Notice how it feels to honor your voice. Next, reflect on your values and priorities. The more clearly you know what matters to you, the easier it becomes to speak your truth in meaningful situations. And finally, embrace courage. It is natural to feel nervous, to fear disagreement, or to worry about judgment. But courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is acting in spite of it. Each time you speak up, and your confidence grows, and your voice becomes stronger, remember being too nice may make life smoother in the short term, but in the long term, it erodes authenticity, respect, and fulfillment. Speaking your truth is not a confrontation, it is an invitation for yourself and for others to live more honestly, more deeply, and more meaningfully. It is the bridge between who you are and who you are meant to become. So today, I challenge you, reflect on where you have been silent out of fear of upsetting others. Ask yourself, am I honoring my truth? Or am I prioritizing someone else's comfort over my own integrity? And then take a step, however small, to express what is in your heart. Speak with love, with clarity, and with courage. Because the world does not need more people who are too nice to speak. It needs people who are authentic, courageous, and unapologetically themselves. And the moment you choose to speak your truth, you reclaim not just your voice, but your life, your purpose, and your power.